What's up, guys? It's Dan Rose here with Mike Chang from SixPackShortcuts.com.
How's it going, guys?
Mike is a six-pack coach, and we're here to make a video for you guys. And he's actually maybe one of the only six-pack coaches on YouTube who actually has a six-pack himself.
Yep.
How crazy is that? What we're going to be talking about today is the three biggest mistakes that everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people make when they're trying to get six-pack abs and get ab definition. And these are mistakes where if you're making them, then you really basically have no chance at all at getting a six-pack. You're not going to get any ab definition at all. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be doing all this hard stuff in the gym. You're going to think it's going to work, and you're spending lots of money on stuff, and none of it's going to work. You're still going to have no definition.
And the problem is, so many people are doing it, and they don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like one or two people. It's
about 90% of people are going to be doing these exact exercises and taking this exact approach to what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
So we decided to put this video together, pretty much educate the public and how to actually get a six-pack without going through different type of gimmicks and crazy diet plans and all this stuff you usually find that you see people talk about all the time.
Exactly.
So, biggest three mistakes when it comes to getting a six-pack. Number one is actually ab exercises. And the reason why, it's crazy because you're thinking, I'm going to work on my abs, I want abs, I'm going to work on it. Like if I want arms, we just do curls all day long. But abs is the only approach that you can't actually go direct. If you try to work on abs, what you're going to get is muscle underneath a layer of fat. And like what we talked about, you see guys and they're like, hey, I got a six-pack, and you're like, really? Let me see it. No, you can feel it, And you got about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of fat over it.
You're like very theoretical six-pack.
You can't ask a chick, hey, baby, look at my six-pack. But you can't see it, but it's there,
If you have an X-ray machine, then you might be able to detect it in there.
Exactly, and the reason why is just because when you're working on getting a six-pack, you have to actually get rid of the fat. It's not really, developing the muscle.
Yeah.
The muscle's already there, and if you didn't have the muscle, you wouldn't be able to even stand up. Your body would just be limp like a cooked spaghetti.
Yeah.
So you actually have to get rid of the fat, and to do so, you actually have to do exercises that burn more calories. And unfortunately, when you do a crunch like this, and you're using this little bit of muscles right here, you don't burn anything. And so that's why your fat will never go away.
I would actually, this is so counterintuitive, but I would think people would eventually catch on to the fact that all those dudes on the ab machine don't have a six-pack. I've never seen a dude on an ab machine doing these little things, or on the ab roller or the ab rocker, who actually look good. Whereas, the people who actually have good definition, they're doing the stuff that you were doing with the planks and the total body.
Which basically brings us to our second mistake for getting a six-pack is basically cardio. Cardio exercises. You see a lot of people, on the treadmill, on the elliptical, and they're there for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and they're doing cardio. And the problem with cardio is that cardio is only effective when you're actually doing it. And you see, most people aren't in the gym, 2 or 3 hours, throughout the day. And if you find most of us working, they're usually on the computer, or they're on the phone, or talking to somebody, just sitting there, and they're inactive. And unless you're, digging ditches, or you're working on a roof, or you're in some type of contract work, you're physically always active, you're not going to be able to burn enough calories to get you that six-pack that you want, unless you're always active. So cardio is really good, for your heart, so don't get me wrong now. You still have to do it, but if you want a six-pack, cardio wouldn't be the first approach. Do it for your heart, do it stay in okay shape, keep the blood flowing, but when it comes to burning body fat, you have to do something different to burn more calories, and the way to do that is to increase your lean muscle in your body, so you increase your metabolism, so this way you're constantly burning a lot more calories instead of just burning more while you're on the treadmill. So
you made a really good analogy with when we were talking earlier today, which I wanted you to share. Can you talk about how guys who are big have a lot of muscle, it's kind of like the V8 car, and then guys who are smaller, it's kind of like the 4-cylinder?
It's kind of like having a Ford little Pinto car, and well, here's the thing. Let's say we have 3 cars, right, Dan, and we're trying to burn the most amount of gasoline. Gasoline is basically our analogy for, let's say, body fat. So if you have a small V4 car, and you put a gallon of gasoline in there, and you have them drive for 10 minutes, you're going to burn a little bit of gasoline because it's a small engine. It's not a lot of horsepower in there. You get another car, and let's say it's a V6 engine, and then you go and put the same amount of gasoline, have them drive the same. you burn a little more gasoline because now you have a bigger engine. It's a V6 versus a V4, right? But if you get that same V6 engine and you go ahead and put some modifications to it, like some headers, some exhaust, stuff to really bump up that horsepower, now that same V6 car is going to burn more gasoline than the original V6 or car number 1, the little V4. Reason why? It pretty much increases power. Now it has to use up more fuel in the same given time that it takes for the other cars to drive the same distance or the same time. And that's the same thing we need to do with our bodies. You take the same body you got, you go ahead and put some more power, or aka lean muscle, you increase the burning in your body, and then you can go ahead and do exactly the same stuff you do now, and you're going to burn twice the amount of calories. So that's how you fix that problem. So cardio is not going to build any lean muscle. That's why doing cardio is like you driving a little Pinto every day and trying to drive across the country. You're never going to make it there, and if you do, it's going to take a hell of a long time.
Yeah. And I mean, I always like to look at the people who are actually doing it, seeing the results that they get. And I find there's kind of like two types. There's like kind of the casual jogger where really they're getting no results at all. They just look like the average person.
Yeah.
And then there's like, the hardcore, like a marathon runner. And you
Yeah.
think of them, like the person who's like devoted their life to cardio, like literally they're running marathons.
Of course you're going to get in shape. You're always right.
I mean, you think they would look great, but they look like refugees. I mean, they look like they're starving to death.
Hey, look at the athletes. The athletes are in good shape while they're competing. You look at them 5-10 years later. They're all just like normal people, big guts and out of shape.
Yeah.
And they're just not doing it anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want to look like a refugee, do cardio. If you want to look like Mike Chang, do total body workouts.
So the last thing I want to cover, and the biggest mistake, is listening to people, or more specifically, listening to either overweight people who don't have a six-pack on how to get one, or listening to skinny people who have a six-pack who never had to do anything to get it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: you got a guy, at the gym. He's doing crunches, he's doing sit-ups, and he never had a six-pack, but he's maybe seen a little bit of results. Now he thinks he's a guru, and he thinks, oh man, I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody, what the secret I found out about this machine. This is the best machine in my life, probably the only one he ever used. And he got a little bit of results, and now he wants to tell the world how that's the way to get a six-pack. Well, you can't really trust that because A, the guy's never had one before, and a lot of times when you're taking advice from somebody who's never done it, very likely you're not going to get really far because that person hasn't either. Now if you take a guy who was overweight and dropped 50, 100 pounds, now is awesome shape, has a six-pack, he'll tell you his step-by-step on how to do it. A little different, but in that case, that's not going to work. Next thing is basically the skinny guy. Is just naturally high metabolism, never was overweight in his life, probably has a 28-inch waist, and just had a six-pack all his life. And so he never had to do anything to get it. It's like a rich kid telling you how to make money when he just got handed down. Dad paid for all his bills and paid for all his stuff. It just doesn't work. You want to get a six-pack, you got to go ahead and talk to a professional, talk to somebody who knows what they're doing and who has done it before and has showed many people, normal people, how to do it. So this way you can actually do the right things to actually succeed. If not, you just waste a lot of time in the gym and eventually, just be like the other 90% of the people out there, pure gut, and never going to dream of ever having flat abs.
Yeah. I mean, like just before this, me and you were looking at some videos on YouTube, and we searched for six-pack abs, and the funny thing is, all the people making the videos don't have a six-pack. I mean, does anybody see the problem with this? We actually saw one video where it was like, how to fake six-pack abs.
Oh, with the girl drawing in her abs. Yeah, and she got like 17 million
Exactly.
hits.
18 million people have watched someone draw fake six-pack abs in marker. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to learn how to draw like fake six-pack abs, and watch that video. But if you really want to learn, I feel that you have to learn from someone who actually gets the results himself.
Exactly.
That's why I learned from Mike personally, and I have to say that he's really revolutionized my own workout routine. I've gained a lot of muscle, I've gotten a lot of ab definition myself, and I have to say that his stuff is definitely the real deal. I recommend you definitely check out his site. What's that again?
It's sixpackshortcuts.com. That's six spelled out, shortcuts.com, and basically it's going to talk about a lot of exercises that I've been teaching people how to do that really burns body fat. Do it in a short amount of time. You're not going to be wasting all your time working out, and also you're going to do it at the comfort of your own home, so you don't have to worry about going to the gym or working with a whole bunch of bulky exercises to stand out weights.
Yeah.
So
yeah, basically when I work out with Mike, all the workouts are really fast. They're not exactly easy, but they're not like super like grueling either. They're definitely something which anybody can do, and you get results. I mean, you absolutely cannot argue with the results.
Yeah, no, not at all. My clients, I mean, when they do these exercises, I promise you, first 30 days, they lose anywhere from about 1 inch to up to 2 inches in their waist.
Yeah.
And this is just eating regular, not even really switching too much of what they're eating, but all they're doing is basically certain exercises that allow their body to burn more calories, and in turn increase in lean muscle, and now they're just like a fat burning machine. They're burning all they want. And I mean, I never even tell anybody to do any treadmill. I go,
Exactly.
You can do it,
They're
fine.
the
Yeah, build that V8, you know. Get rid of your Pinto, get rid of that V4, you know. Go American. So
All right, so check it out, sixpackshortcuts.com.